Hello everyone, and welcome to a tutorial on making a lift using the Doom 2 engine. So the first thing we're going to do is create a 640 by 640 sector here. So let me draw that out. Now, instead of duplicating one over, we're going to do something a little bit different here. We're going to come up here and we'll add a sector that goes around this sector, and we'll go 192 stretched all the way out and 192 this way. And you may not get this exactly on the first try like I just did. If you don't, you can always go into lines mode and move your lines around, or vertices mode to move your vertices around if you need to. So with that, we'll go ahead and start setting up some heights here. Let me jump into sectors mode, and I'll select the first one and I'll raise it up to 256, the ceiling, I'm sorry, and we'll push OK. That should be fine. On this one, we're going to leave this, or we're going to put this at 256 as well for ceiling. For floor height, though, we're going to move it up to 128. Okay, so this is a 128 height, this is a 0 height, so this is 128 units above this one as far as the floor goes. So now we're going to create the lifts in between here. We're going to create two lifts. So go ahead and draw a 128 by 64 sector here, and we'll do the same over here, which will be 64 by 128. Okay, so we got two lifts there. And what we'll do now is actually go into the sectors here and make sure they're both set to 128, and they are. We'll try and change the floor to more of a lift texture. We'll just use flat 20s fine. Alright, and we'll actually lower this one from the top sector here just to give it more of a ledge there. So we'll push OK. So that's set up. Now what we're going to do is go into lines mode here. We're going to select these first two. Alright, now we're in this. We're going to go into the actions. We're going to go to lift. We're going to use switch repeatable lower weight raise. So push OK. That's action 62 if you just want to type that in. We'll hit the new tag and it'll put it up to 1. So you see that sets that for both. And we'll proceed to clear that out. We'll select the other side of the lift, right click that, and the reason we selected this different was because this one's going to work different. We're not going to push use on this side of the lift to get it to go down. So what we'll do is go to lift, we'll go to WR, which is walk repeatable, and use lift lower weight raise, push OK. And we're going to use the new tag button, but we're going to decrease it by 1 so we get the tag we were originally on. Useful for if you forget what tag you're using or you're currently on. So we'll push OK. So that's set up. Now the last thing we need to do is actually set up the sector tag to make sure it matches those line tags. So we'll select both these sectors, right click, push the new sector tag, go down one, and push OK. Now if I go into lines mode and I select those left, if I deselect everything by pushing C, go into lines mode and I put my mouse over those lines, you see it highlights the sectors that it affects. So the last thing I'm going to do here is click the front sides of these two again. Got to go into side depths and add a texture for the lifts. So we'll click that, and we want a lift texture. So we'll go ahead and come down and pick up support. Hang on, give me a second to find it. Here we go, support 2. Push OK. And we'll push OK again. We'll clear that, push C. And now we're going to select these two top side textures again because they need a texture as well for the back side of them. So we'll select that, and we'll just add, we'll go to door stop just to have a texture behind that lift, kind of like a track. So we'll push OK. And we'll push OK again. So now that we've replaced all the missing textures, we can go ahead and come in here and add a player start, and I'll face it in that direction, and we should be ready for some testing. Okay, so here we are in game, and you can see we have our two lifts here, and now if I run up to one and push the use key, it'll go down. It actually makes both go down because they're both the same sector tag, so they work together. And now I'm up, and notice they went back down when I went over the line, and I can go down that way, same as I went up. But notice how they work together. We're going to go ahead and make it where we separate those, and while walking over this line makes the lifts go down, that's not really needed for the scenario it's in right now. But we'll go ahead and I'll go ahead and show you a scenario where it would be beneficial to have it where you walk over that top line and the lifts go down. So with that, we'll head back into the editor. Okay, so here we are, and we want to go ahead and make this right lift work different than this left one, or work separate, that is. So what we'll do is come in here and go to lines mode, select these two lines, and since these two have the same tag, we'll up them to 2, push OK. We'll clear that selection, and then we'll just select this sector here and change that sector tag to 2. So now we know these lines are working with a sector and these lines are working with this sector, so now they'll work independently of each other. And lastly, what I'm going to do is go ahead and come into this sector and change the ceiling to 128. Okay? And what that's going to do is basically make it where we can no longer jump from this sector down to here, because this ceiling will be 128 and it'll be lower. Now that I've lowered this ceiling, we got to replace some textures on right here, because those were previously unset. So we'll go into lines mode again, select these two lines, and we'll right click, and we'll just go ahead and do the upper of the back side, and we'll just make it Startan 2. And we'll push OK. Alright, now we'll push C to clear our selection, and we're ready to test again. Alright, here we are in game. And you can see that we can see up there where the lifts go, but the ceiling is lowered. So what we'll do is we'll come up to a lift and we'll push use, we'll turn, you see it's working independently. We'll go ahead and get on it, and it lifts up. Now notice, of course I can jump down right now, but as soon as the lift raised, say I didn't have the walk here, there'd be no way for me to get back down to that lower level. But since now I put that walk line here and makes the lift go down, I can step on it and it lowers. And that's basically pretty useful if you have a sector that's going to be lower on the opposite side. And you can see here they both work. So with that, we'll go ahead and head back into the editor. Alright, so that covers how to set up our basic lift using the Doom 2 engine. That'll pretty much wrap up this lesson. Thank you for watching.